So I share this analogy, especially because it was just recently Thanksgiving season. So it's kind of pie season for everybody. And I share this analogy of going into a grocery store. So let's say you go into a grocery store and you promise your kids you're going to make them an apple pie. And so you walk in the store and there's all these types of apples. There's Honeycrisp, there's Gala, there's all of them, all of the apples. And you happen upon your favorite type of apples, whichever those may be. I'm not here to judge. You happen upon them and there's like a big pile of them. And so you're like, okay, I'm going to pick some apples here and we're going to have the best apple pie. There's like 2,000 apples in this grocery store and I'm just going to pick 12 apples and make the best pie. So when you think about this decision, right, if you are a, grocery store purchasing connoisseur, which I am not. I am the worst at picking fruits and vegetables. You would look at the apples, kind of feel for them and then put the 12 best apples you could come up with into your basket and off you go. So the reason I share this analogy is because there are at least 60,000 thoughts in our brains every single day. And some of the thoughts are conscious, turn right, turn left. And then some thoughts are just there, you don't really have to overthink about it. You don't have to think about open your mouth when you eat or move your feet when you walk. Those thoughts basically keep us alive and keep us functioning. And they're almost like subconscious thoughts, right? So I'm speaking more of the thoughts that we get to decide and think about every day. So am I going to wash my hair? Am I going to brush my teeth? That sort of thought, right? There's so many thoughts flowing through our brain. The reason I share this analogy is because if you are walking through the grocery store of your brain and you want to create the best life for yourself, the only way you can create the best life for yourself is choosing on purpose the thoughts that absolutely serve you and will make the foundation for the life that you want to have and make the foundation for the relationships that you want to have and create and the way you want to parent and the way you want to manage your, marriage or your romantic relationships, your friendships, the way you show up at your job, right? So when I talk about managing your mind, what I usually want to enforce is that all these thoughts exist, right? There are so many thoughts. There are positive thoughts, there are neutral thoughts, there are negative thoughts. If you want to curate your life experiences, you get to decide to pick the thoughts that serve you, right? You get to decide, you pick the freshest, most helpful thoughts to push you forward. And so I like this analogy because what I want everybody to be aware of is that all these thoughts are available to us. All these thoughts are there. We just get to pick them up. And I've shared this on the podcast before about how a toddler basically decides on purpose that they are something. It could be a princess. A toddler decides they are a princess. And there is nothing you can tell them about them not being a princess that would convince them otherwise, right? They just pick that thought and they go with it. That thought is available to all of us. If you decided today that you wanted to think of yourself as valuable or you wanted to think about yourself as being enough, being insufficiency, being adequate, those thoughts are just available to you as a thought to a toddler that she is a princess or he is a dragon or he is, powerful and Batman and Spider-Man, right? Those thoughts are available to all of us. I was recently talking to one of my coaching clients who has a toddler, and she said to me, we have a grocery chain here in Texas called Kroger. And her daughter was kind of carrying this Kroger bag. And she's like, yeah, this is a Clover bag. And she's like, no, that's a Kroger bag, being mom and being reasonable. And her daughter was like, no, this is a Clover bag. And in our conversation, I really thought about that situation in terms of that her daughter had made this mind frame of an idea of what this bag was. And it didn't matter what anybody else looking at it decided it was. For her, This was a brand purse, and nobody was going to take that away from her. So when we think about our thoughts, I really like to reiterate the model. And the model is something that was created by Brooke Castillo of the Life Coach School. And many people who basically subscribe to the mindset ideas of the Life Coach School use the model as one of their coaching tools. And I use the model in combination with Byron Katie's work to help my clients. I just like the simplification of what the model represents. So just a recap, the model basically says that you have a circumstance, and a circumstance is something that is neutral and that can be basically proven in a court of law, right? And a circumstance, we then have thoughts about a circumstance. These thoughts can be positive or negative. Then those thoughts create feelings. And when I bring up feelings, I'm going to touch into this just a little bit in a second, but it's the vibrations we feel in our bodies. And those vibrations, because of the thoughts that we have about the circumstance, then cause us to take action and to do things or to not do things because of the way we feel or the way we want to feel. Those actions then create results. So what you do with your actions, then in your results, you will see a reflection of your thoughts and your feelings. The first thing when you come up with a thought for yourself is to really kind of think of your mind as a room with the lights turned off. And so if you walk into your closets and the lights are turned off, you just see black, right? When you turn on the lights and you see your clothes, you see your white clothes, your green clothes, your yellow clothes, all the different colors, your jackets, your skirts, your shirts, you see everything, right? Everything was always there until you turned on the light. So when I talk about thoughts, there are times, especially as I'm coaching, that my clients have this moment where they're like, I don't think the thoughts are there. And what I like to liken this to is like walking into the room with the lights turned off. They're always there. It's just now you're like shining the light, so to speak, on their existence, and therefore they begin to exist for you. I'm Shira Bergbauer, and you're listening to an excerpt from the Stethoscopes to Swaddles podcast. You can listen to the whole episode wherever you get your podcasts, and look out for new episodes out every Monday. You're doing a great job, Mama. I'll see you next week. Bye now.